Sorry, my mic was off. Hello, Erica.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. We are here today with Chris Padilla, and is your co-host with you today, Chris, or just you?
So she should be trying to join here shortly,
Okay.
Shirley
Yeah,
Varela.
no problem. I didn't know if she was sitting next to you. I didn't want to not introduce her. So we'll get going. But we're glad to have two folks from Sin Barreras today to tell us about their programs and just some good resources for some families and youth we may be serving. And so I will turn the floor over to Chris and he'll give us the overview. Thanks for being here today.
Absolutely. Thank you. Let me just go ahead and share my screen. Let's see.
Technology is always the hardest piece of the process.
Uh, Let me see. All right. Are you able to see the presentation?
Yes, yes, it
Perfect.
works.
Okay. All right. So it's my name is Chris. I am from Sin Barreras Without Barriers. Um, I should be joined here by Shirley Varela. But I am the office administrator. I oversee both offices that we currently have from both locations here in Charlottesville, which is our main office, and we have another one in Waynesboro. So Shirley, she is our education and programs coordinator. Um, and so just a brief overview of our roots. In 2000, Fanny Smeddle, who is pictured on the top right-hand corner. Um, she is our founder, and she has been the one who a lot of people know here in the community, whether it's organizations, or community members. And she moved to Charlottesville from New Jersey, where she already had, I believe it was like 8 or 10 years of working with the Hispanic community over there, doing a similar, idea or operation as what we do here in Sin Barreras. And again, in 2000, the community work begins supporting the Spanish speakers and the recent immigrants through resource connections and personal outreach. Again, in the 2000s, I don't know how many of you guys might have already been here back then in Charlottesville or in surrounding areas, but the resources that were offered to our Spanish speakers were very rare and few. And so this is where the idea sparked for Miss Metal to begin connecting with Hispanic community and outsourcing and outreaching herself to find those resources to be able to help out the community here, especially, the immigrants, who, of course, if you can imagine being in their shoes, have no idea. Just like if we go to any other foreign country where the language is different, the culture is different, you just feel basically lost. And all you want is just to find that one person who can help you out navigate and understand what is going on. So in 2003, Venice Metal, she begins volunteering at the Church of the Incarnation, where she is still a congregant when she's here in the Charlottesville area, and she helps initiate the first Latin American festival. So in 2012, that is when Fanny is able to found or create Sin Barreras, along with four other passionate individuals. Again, at this time, this is all just volunteer work, um, which is later established as volunteering, but four other individuals along with Fanny who just have similar ideas, similar, um, thoughts and the same heart to support the community that at the time was underserved. So they opened a small office at the church, and they only began operating 4 hours a week. And in 2016, the first staff member gets hired, which marks a huge transition, to what is now known as our nonprofit organization, Sin Barreras. In 2020, the education and volunteer programs begin to be created. Everything starts, having a better shape around Sin Barreras. Um, and then, of course, in 2021, Sin Barreras opens a second office in Waynesboro. So, um, sorry, excuse me. Leah, I believe Shirley is in the waiting room.
I don't see her. Let me, if she's texting you, tell her to try again. She's not showing up here on my end. Sorry about that.
No worries. Um, well, so the mission of Sin Barreras, the the base of it all for our organization is to empower the immigrants and their families in Central Virginia, with a focus again on the Hispanic population. We do this by educating them, advocating for them, and supporting their needs. As you guys will find out here shortly in our education programs and our services and anything that we do here in Sin Barreras, it's always to provide the tools for that so that the community can then go out and do what it is that they need to do um, in order to be successful, right? Again, it's really hard to have to rely on other people in order to get something done. Meanwhile, when you have the tools, you're able to go out there and do it yourself and feel that empowerment. And of course, then share that knowledge with others. So, all right. So, as you guys know or may not know, Virginia is known as a newcomer state. Um, some of the opportunities that newcomers here in the state will find are diverse communities, labor force contribution, and culture and language training. Now, of course, with that, again, it's new territory for those that are new here in Virginia. Um, depending on where you come from, if you're a foreign, if you're migrating here, or if you're coming even from the West Coast or from the Midwest, um, you'll always find some challenges, and some of those challenges can be the workforce, funding gaps for services, language and education barriers, legal and documentation challenges. Again, every state will differ from what is required of you in order for you to obtain a driver's license. Of course, here we have what is called the driver's privilege card, and that has been one of the biggest accomplishments that Sin Barreras has been able to um, obtain here, right, being passed by Congress or the state in order for now those who are non-citizens are able to have a driver's license, to whereas before you had to be a citizen in order, to obtain a driver's license to, drive legally. So, um, language and education, again, a lot of our, um, a lot of our community members who are coming here, they want to excel in their education, but don't necessarily know how to, because again, it can be a language barrier. They feel like they can't adjust to the culture or adjust to the educational environment. And so from that feedback, from those challenges that we hear that the community expresses to us, or that we can see, or perhaps have even experienced ourselves firsthand, this is where we kind of, we try to incorporate all that into our services and programs, um, to then, of course, better serve the community. Uh, Leah, just checking in with you. Okay, Shirley's in. Perfect. All right, Shirley, I'm gonna hand it over to her.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, having Zoom problems. Um, yeah. So I'll continue from Chris. So our process, really, we really like to show this slide because there, a lot of the reasons we want clients and the community to come to us is because we also want to make sure that they understand all the different services and programs that we offer, and they always they're coming to us at different times in their lives where they might need different things at different times. If they're just coming in as newcomers, and they might just do more welcome and navigation, and we'll go in through our programs. But as they get more comfortable with just kind of the day-to-day activities of going to work and things like that, they might want to then do some classes with us. And so we are encouraging our clients to just look at all the services and programs we provide and see if they can slowly kind of where they are in life, and they might be able to then do a little bit of at a different time in their lives, come back and do something else with us. So we do want them to come to us when they have those urgent needs, but then they also want them to come back when they've already had, those taken care of, and consider taking some of our classes. And then when they do that, then they can actually also kind of work with us through advocacy to just, understand what the community needs, to them also let us know what they know about the community and what should we be advocating for. But eventually, our goal is to take some of those few clients that start with us to also become community leaders. So the two people you see here are actually really good examples. They in the last 2 years got awards from CNE to basic philanthropy champions, and there are two people within the community that have gone through different services and programs with us, but eventually they also have become they're volunteers with us right now, but they're also community leaders. And so we depend a lot on folks like this to actually help us spread the word and just continue to mentor the community.
All right, so now I'll be presenting some of the services and perhaps programs that we have. Um, Beginning with welcome and navigation, this is the spot where our intention is to provide that safe and trusted place for any urgent needs, as part of, that welcome and navigating this new culture, navigating this new community, just providing the information that you're looking for. And so we help directly, of course, when it's possible, to connect others to those resources. And just like Piedmont CASA, that's one of our local resources. We have many other, we have knowledge of many other community resources who reach out to us, or we reach out to them, right? Because again, it's just, we see every day, we see different challenges. Every day we see different needs. It could even be a basic information that, where can I find, um, where can I go to get, my baby, some formula or some baby wipes and so forth, to something more on the legal side, to where can I petition for custody for my children. Of course, here we don't have attorneys, we're not attorneys, and so we can only provide you those resources. Of course, we can always speak from experience or from our own knowledge as we gain it, from other resources. But um, again, as part of the welcome navigation, we always want to stay up to date with our local resources, what is going on, what events you guys are having, creating that safe place where they may have confidential information that they want to speak to one of us, right? Again, perhaps we may not be therapists, we may not be legal clerks or attorneys of any sort, but with keeping that confidentiality of what they share, we can then point them to the right direction, so that they can get the help that they need. Information about basic needs. We always welcome any food bank information. Again, any events of they're going to be donating diapers or baby formula or clothing for children, clothing for adults, anything like that that someone will need as basic needs. We always welcome that information. Local events, if you as an organization have any mental health workshops, any even fun activities for the children family to connect together even more, um, stuff like that, we always welcome. And if perhaps we as Sin Barreras may not attend every single event, we can definitely, again, as long as it's beneficial to the community, we will share it on our social media, or we can share it on our social media to spread the word, with those who need a place like that, or are looking for such resources. Immigration, again, so we don't have immigration attorneys, but we do have what is called the Board of Immigration Appeals accredited representatives. They go through an extensive, I believe it's a 3-month course, um, where they, at the end of it, they take the test, they graduate from the course, and they get a certification. This allows them to be able to fill out these petitions, but it does not allow them to represent a client in court. That can only be done by attorneys. The cases that we have two Board of Immigration Appeals representatives. They can take the U visa, the T visa. They can assist with filling out the permanent residence petition, citizenship petitions, DACA, work permits, and of course, if you have a client who has a question of, hey, I just need some guidance. I just got here, or my wife, or whoever it is, I'm looking to see how they can obtain legal immigration status, but who can I go to? They are more than welcome to set up an appointment with us, and we will have them come in, sit down, and speak with our BIAs. What they want to know is the history of how they came into the United States, what happened in their transition of coming over to the United States, and any perhaps criminal record, criminal history, anything in there that could potentially decrease the chances of them being approved for that a petition that they're looking for, that will provide them that legal immigration status. But again, our BIAs will be honest with them and transparent and let them know, hey, that seems more of like an asylum type path, or you may need to do like a juvenile visa. At that point, they will provide them the resources of other local attorneys, or even like Legal Aid Justice Center or Central Virginia Legal Aid Center. So that way they can still go and speak with those attorneys and get the help that they need if it's outside of the scope of what our BAs are authorized to take on. Part of the immigration is also consulate visits. Right now, we just finished our first visit of the year with the Mexican consulate. And these are things where the Mexican consulate will assist the Mexican community to renew their Mexican passports, renew their Mexican identification cards, any dual citizenship that the Mexican parents want to give their children. They do that as well. If they have vehicles or property is still in Mexico that they need to renew the registration for, this is one way that they can also do that to maintain their properties back home still valid. Legal documents, we assist in the documentations and support in this way, such as filling out passport applications, doing any consent for travel of a minor, just different documents that may need to be presented, or need authorization or notarization. We can do that. So these are just ways that we help out the community as well, to not have to go, possibly to an attorney, or to have to go somewhere where they will perhaps be overcharged, I guess, in a sense. We do have a fee, but it's lower than we always take into consideration if it's a family of low income, it can be by donation, or if we have a set fee, we can work with that as well if they cannot afford it. Um, but again, we always keep in mind and at heart the community that we serve and their struggles and, why they come to us. Health and wellness and culture. I don't know how many of you guys know, but I think our most popular one under this category is the Charlottesville Sabroso Festival, the Civil Sabroso Festival. It seems like over the years it's just been growing, and of course that's something exciting for us because we want to bring unity. We want to bring that culture infusion to Charlottesville and the surrounding areas, right? Um, that doesn't take away, again, from us partnering with local health organizations for any in-person, online informative sessions. Um, Again, it's every year we try to just find out, get feedback from the community, what it is that they're looking for. We really try to pay attention to, when the community comes and speaks with us, we review our data of what we collect, in confidentiality of all the different needs within health, wellness, and we try to communicate with organizations that are willing and able to offer, perhaps a workshop of mental health. Uh, as you guys may know, and those who watch the news or read the news right now, the government and the administration, everything that's just surrounding us is creating, such a turmoil, and a lot of us may feel stressed. A lot of us just feel in an uncertain, you know, time. And what we could really use, is just to speak to someone, to hear someone tell us, someone guide us in things that we can do to kind of, you know, perhaps maybe not avoid the stress, but at least ways that we can deal with the stress, that we can connect with our families, connect with our community. Um, Again, Civil Sabroso is one of those times where we want you guys to feel that happiness, that, that culture joy, that feeling where we are all here in unity as a community. And of course, enjoy the refreshments, enjoy the different foods that you may not get to eat on a daily basis, and hear the music. Um, Facebook Live with UVA Latino Health is one that we do. As of now, it's on a monthly basis, and we have doctors from UVA that we have partnered up where they speak to our community who, perhaps is potentially prone to not really pay attention to their health or any symptoms that they may experience, and they just think, oh, well, it's just a cold, it's just a flu, or, I'm just feeling this, but I'll be okay. Well, this initiative, these Facebook Lives really inform the community, the Hispanic community, to not just dismiss those symptoms, not dismiss the feelings, but actually pay attention to your health, right? Because, our families need us, your children need you guys, and just look out for each other, as well as the collaboration with the Women's Initiative. They provide a space, a safe space, and they come and, give us workshops or talk to the community, the women's community who, again, may not realize that their bodies are going through certain changes or their mental health is going through, different stages. And so this really helps our community be informed where otherwise they wouldn't necessarily seek out this type of assistance or information.
So our education program, I like to say, just kind of tell people when we're presenting is it's not this very elaborate program where we're offering college courses or anything like that. It's really a program that is meant for the community to start or restart their education journey. And in a lot of cases, we have people that either had already maybe already did their careers back in their country and they're here now, don't know English, so they will do some of our English courses. But then we also have people back in their countries that just never went to school, or did go to school and maybe had a really bad experience in any education setting back at home. So we find that a lot of the community members we're working with, they need kind of this place that, we're not trying to have them fill out any big applications, anything like that for them to have, join or start our education program. We really just want them to become comfortable again with being in a school setting or education setting. We want to also be able to provide them with mentoring, and we're always looking for people, volunteers that are from the community that can teach as well, so that the community can also just feel like they're being supported by other people that have been through similar experiences. So a lot of our courses that we offer right now is the most popular one is definitely the English tutoring class. So we do offer classes and then one-on-one tutoring in certain situations, at least 3 times a week. Our next most popular class is the driver's written test class. We do want to part of our advocacy program was to kind of make sure that everybody could in Virginia get their driver's license, but we also saw that there was a gap with people in the community getting their driver's license because a lot of them were not passing the written test. So that class has been very popular. It gets, we get our max number of students every semester, and we still have a waiting list for next semester for that class. We do get a lot of people through our immigration program, get people that want citizenship tutoring through us. So we do offer that. And then we do have a collaboration we've been doing with the Mexican consulate, where they actually offer. This is a program they actually do back in Mexico, where in Mexico, the Department of Education in Mexico actually has a program where they try to get adults that never went to school or never finished school, and they actually send volunteers out to different towns to make sure everyone in those communities can actually complete their primary or secondary school. So they actually get that whole program, and they lend it to anybody here in the States that is an organization, and working with the Hispanic community to actually make sure they can still complete it. And you don't have to be from Mexico. It could be anyone that wants to do it in Spanish. But it is a really, really nice program because in a lot of ways, people in the community want to get to the point where they do their GED, but they don't have that foundation to actually get to do the GED classes. So a lot of them maybe finish primary school and that's it. So this program actually allows us to get them to pre-GED level, to basically do that foundation, finish their primary, finish their secondary, all in Spanish. And then they can go on to actually finish and continue studying on their own or take classes to take their GED. And so far, we've had 6, if not 7 students that have already finished our program and moved on to actually also completing their GED. And this, one of I really enjoy this program because it's one of those classes is one of those where you can see this advancement that happens within sometimes 3 years, and to see them complete their GED and have it affect, their job and getting a promotion or something it's really amazing to see that in the community. Digital literacy class is another one we've been pushing for as well. It's just kind of getting people, to just be more comfortable with using computers. And we know a lot of people in the community are mostly using their phones. They know how to use them, but we want to also make sure that people can understand and be trained on just using the basics, Gmail, things like that, be able to, create their own presentation, stuff like that, that can also help them at work. And then the last one I'll talk about is our Spanish classes we did 2 years ago. And this was after a lot of conversations with volunteers and local organizations. We were finding that a lot of people were asking us about, do you offer any Spanish classes? And we started kind of, doing a pilot, and we found that there is a lot of interest in the community to do also Spanish classes. Again, we're not trying to have a program, where it's like very strict with applications or anything like that. It's just really more, it's run very similarly to our English classes, where it's just like, if you're interested in learning, and we do have 3 levels, then, it's also online, and there's a limit of about 6 to 8 people, but it's just a place for everyone to, whoever wants to practice or learn, just kind of get started with your journey on learning Spanish. So that one's also been very popular. When we started, we weren't sure where that was going, but it's been very popular, and now we've been running it for 2 years. Oh, and the last thing I'll say is, most of our education program, we always like to thank our volunteers, because it is mostly all our instructors are volunteers. So without them, definitely we couldn't do all of these different classes.
Advocacy has been also what has shaped Sin Barreras. Again, I briefly talked about the driver's privilege card. This was a um, I guess I would like to say a battle won between Sin Barreras and other partnering, collaborating organizations throughout Northern Virginia and around here. Um, Again, advocating for our rights, right? Again, even though our focal point is on the Hispanic community, that does not mean that we're going to close our doors to anybody who comes through. It doesn't matter, right? And it goes as well for this, for advocating for everybody's rights, for no one to be underserved. And of course, we've done driver's privilege card, immigration reforms. Some of you guys may know we recently just had a series of what we call the Know Your Rights. Again, this was initiated, or it had started back in 2016 when similar administration factors were going on, and now we've found ourselves kind of, circling back, unfortunately, into that same situation. And so we believe that Know Your Rights was effective back then, so we needed to bring it back again. And the Know Your Rights series, we started in November of last year. We had our last one, I believe it was the beginning of February, and we kind of wanted to, give it a break, just because again, we're trying to be very careful of the information that we share, but also how we share it. And one of the things that we share with everybody is, we're not trying to induce fear. We're not, we share what we share with you guys and through our social media and word of mouth and through these workshops, as preventative measures, right? Of course, we get a lot of calls and still a lot of texts of asking us, hey, is it true that immigration was here in Charlottesville, or someone told me, or someone took a picture saying that they saw X, Y, and Z there. Is it true? Again, a lot of these things are rumors. In some of these cases, we have driven ourselves out to those sites where people have mentioned to us that they believe have seen ICE or a federal agent and stuff like that. And it comes out to be that it wasn't anybody. It was someone perhaps that was just wearing a green vest, or clothing similar to the color that you would potentially see a federal agent in, or ICE or Homeland Security. But again, we just want to, even through this, we want to empower the families to not fear the government, right? I mean, if you're not doing anything wrong, there's no reason for you to be detained or pulled into this world. But again, unfortunately, we are also trying to keep ourselves up to date with the news, with the administration, with through verifiable resources. And as much as we want to do and stop all this nonsense, at times we unfortunately can't. So we just want to make sure that our families understand how to keep each other safe, know your rights. We all have rights. We are all human beings, regardless of you being a US citizen or not. You still have rights, and that's the biggest thing. So anything that we can do, and anything again that we can count with our volunteers and organizations and collaborators to make a change in this world, to make a change for the better good of our community and everybody that that is in Charlottesville and surrounding areas, we would love to be a part of. And that's really what our advocacy program is about.
So probably by now you'll know that we're a very, very, very small staff, and a lot of the work that gets done is from our volunteers. So we do depend a lot on our volunteers to just kind of help us with a lot of our services and programs. So we are always looking for volunteers, just kind of recruiting and onboarding people, and just some of the things that you know, if anyone's interested, it's just like probably a lot of more popular ones are fundraising events, events in general, when we are doing any kind of events like the Know Your Rights. So it's not just kind of events of, you know, tabling or something. It could be that we do have certain workshops or things that are tied to immigration or any of our other programs. So we do have a lot of events that we always welcome volunteers. Tutoring, like I said, we do have our education program runs 3 semesters a year. So we're always looking for people interested in tutoring. And then there's also a lot of times, depending how much is going on at the office, there might be also a need for some office work. And the next slide will tell us a little bit more of, you know, just if you are interested in volunteering, then you know, you can always kind of just reach out to us at the volunteer at sinbarrerascivil.org. But also just it always kind of, you know, one of the ways to just volunteer without getting onboarded or having to you know, sign up for anything is always, we ask people whenever we're presenting or wherever we are, is to just always tell other people about Sin Barreras. And, you know, we do have fundraising events coming up as well. So that's a great way to participate and just be engaged. And, you know, as a nonprofit that is trying our best to just kind of get just continue our programs and services. We're always kind of looking for anybody that or people interested in donating or, you know, foundations and all of that. So, you know, as the little image at the bottom says, you can take a photo of this page or screenshot it, but it's probably the best way to get involved as well if you're not looking to do any volunteer work currently. And we have this slide here just because in a sense, a lot of people, when we're talking, they're always asking, what do you guys need? You know, what is your biggest need? We are right now, you know, looking to expand our team. And this comes also from foundations or people in general or others that are just kind of asking like best needs right now. And so from when it comes from the maybe our number one, and we'll say kind of, you know, very straightforward, we need funds. That is definitely one of our biggest needs right now. It is just the only way we can basically kind of do some of these things, which is try to expand our team right now. You know, we're looking our programs, we're still running them, like I said, with volunteers, but there's still a big need to, you know, there's a lot of gaps, and we're making sure we can still, you know, do what we need to do for the community. With the bigger team, then we can do more community events. Those are definitely needed. We cannot just have an office and be there where the community comes to us. There's a lot of people in the community that probably needs us to go to them and be able to provide that, you know, service more, where we're out there kind of getting the community together, just creating community with them, understanding what more they're going through, because I'm sure we're not seeing everybody that really needs to see us or needs our services. And out of all the programs, we're always looking to enhance our education and advocacy. You know, both of them just kind of can help the community continue to strengthen and just, you know, we want to educate them more so they can also advocate for themselves, because we cannot do it all ourselves. So we definitely, that's one of the reasons why the education program is something we continuously push for, and hoping that more individuals can just have those tools and the knowledge they need. So that's where we are in terms of fundings.
Right. I just wanted to share some upcoming events quickly with you guys. the first one being on March 25th. We've been running the power of attorney and standby guardianship workshops. This happens every Tuesday of the week. Um, for now, as long as the community continues responding. And really, these power of attorneys and standby guardianships, again, are derived, or we initiated them. Again, it was something that was done back in 2016 with that administration. Now it's back again. But it's for those families who may feel like they could potentially run into risk of being detained by ICE or even deported by ICE. Um, Power of attorneys allow them to leave their properties in good hands, right, or in hands that they trust, um, as well as the standby guardianship. That is for their children. If they have children who are, still minors, this allows them to assign a tutor or assign a guardian who will, officially be recognized by the state. Um, if in case that the unfortunate event happens where the parent or both parents are no longer present here in the United States, that guardian or tutor has 30 days to go to, um, of course, if it's here in Charlottesville or Albemarle County, they can go to the Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court and hand over, the notarized form that we have them fill out. And then the judge would then sign an official letter, which then will substitute the form that we have given them. And then they will officially, by the state, be recognized, and perhaps even by the government, be recognized as the guardians of the children. Um, Again, we are just trying to take every measure for our families to protect themselves, protect their assets, protect their children, um, and hopefully, right, still have the families connected together. Of course, we can only imagine, the parents being miles and miles away in a whole different country while their children stay back here in the United States. It would break anybody's heart. But it is the reality that's currently happening. So, April 9, we have the Wellness Night, which is going to take place at the Church of the Incarnation. Um, it's hosted by the Women's Initiative, where it's open to all women from the community. As they're making jewelry, the Women's Initiative is just speaking to the community on just, again, different ways of de-stressing and helping out with current times, and improving mental health and stuff like that. So, of course, it's one of those much needed activities that we could have put on for the community. April 27th, we have a fundraising evening of music, food, and community, where, of course, if you can join us for any of these, or if you need assistance with any of these events, please come out. Again, it does not matter if you're Hispanic, if you're, citizen or not. Just you showing up and showing your support for us, it means a lot. Or like Shirley said, even spreading the word of the events, or spreading the word of Sin Barreras as the organization, who helps the community do X, Y, and Z, is just big help. And then September 20th, again, Cibo Sabroso. It's an annual festival that we have. And of course, this year it's happening on the 20th of September. So, if you can, if you have the time, and if you're around here, we would definitely appreciate your presence. And just come out and enjoy your time.
And we just put this here. We didn't really go through a lot of our kind of stats for the last year, but we just completed our annual report about a week ago. So it's fresh off the press. And you can find it online. If you go to our website under the Learn More tab, you'll find the report for last year. You can just get a sense more of the stats for each of our programs and just kind of some of our accomplishments from last year.
All right, so I guess we're gonna open it for any questions. that anybody has.
Hi, Chris. This is Erica. I am professionally a family services specialist with community attention foster families. And personally, I have been a parishioner at Incarnation since 2003. So Fanny is near and dear to my heart. Please tell her that Erica said hello. I have since moved out of the area last year, but I know the work that Sin Barreras does, and you all are phenomenal. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for all that you continue to do in the community. And it's been lovely to see the growth from this just being in Fanny's heart to what you are now is beautiful. So just, I wanted to start with a huge thank you. And then secondly, our worlds cross in foster care. I just had a personal wonderment. If you had any information on how the effects of our current administration is having any overflow towards the impact of our children that are experiencing foster care, either legally, if you have any information, if not, just from an emotional standpoint, how is the community doing as it pertains to families whose children are experiencing foster care right now?
Thank you, Erica. Thank you for those kind words, and I will definitely pass on the message to Fanny. And to answer your question, I wish I had a better answer, but as you may probably guess already, we don't. I'll be honest, when we don't deal much with foster, that environment that perhaps you guys as Piedmont CASA are involved with. But what I can say from the reaction and the feedback from the families and having children, there's just a lot of fear. I can't even count the times that parents have came in here asking us, what am I supposed to do? What can I do? My children are scared to go to school. They ask me to not send them to school. I mean, they even tell me that they're scared that one day when they come back from school, I'm no longer here or their dad's no longer here. Um, we have worked with the various law enforcement departments that we have here in Albemarle County, Charlottesville PD, and we've tried to also, get some information from them. Again, this is not necessarily directed to, the foster care or the foster children environment, but it's definitely something that we would like to work with you guys to understand, the fears, to understand the feedback, the questions that you guys are getting from, the children, the families within your network, so that then we can develop, whether it's support a plan or come up with a plan on how to, what resources we need to be able to offer to your community, or how we can help essentially you guys to still hug your community as well as the same as the community that we serve. Um, right. It's just one of those topics that I think Sin Barreras is not, you know, deeply involved with. And again, I think this is a good opportunity for us to understand your environment and the environment that you guys work with. And again, those questions and the needs, so that we can perhaps support and be part of that, that resource that you guys need. So I'm sorry, Erica. I know that probably doesn't provide you much of a good answer. But yeah.
It was a perfect answer because, Chris, I heard you saying there was opportunity for us to village. And at the end of the day, that's what we're all here to do. As a case manager, I am several steps removed from the table of decision makers, but just personally as a mama, and I am Latina también. So this is something that hits very home for me. And I just wanted to see how the community was doing. We at Community Attention Foster Families support support the foster families that either come from the community or are developed from a kinship or non-kinship perspective. And so we are, again, one step removed from the Department of Social Services, who I'm sure is at the front lines of handling legally what some of these impacts are as they come down the pike. So just thank you for your answer, Chris. And I think there are those in this room that can continue that conversation. So I appreciate your time today.
Thank you. Thank you for your question.
Yeah, Chris, this is Kari. I'm a supervisor with Piedmont CASA. I have several cases where there is the question on the kids are, and I have asked the social workers that, and they had no answer, but the kids are in foster care. What happens if their parents get deported? Do they need to start filing with a legal document that who would then be a guardian or a possible guardian for the children? And if you want to take this to a different conversation at some point, I would be happy to come and meet with you guys. But there have been questions like that also for the children to get a certain status, that if something happens, I know this is more law oriented, but maybe you have an idea or can direct us to somebody.
Sure, absolutely. I think I'd have to probably refer back to the power of attorney and the standby guardianship. It's for the standby guardianship again, right? This is, I think, the first step that you guys can take. Again, and like you said, we can definitely continue this conversation separately and probably have you come in and again, just really understand everything and how your environment works. But the standby guardianship, the person who is left in charge of the children or the child does not have to be a family member. Um, Again, I don't know if it's even authorized for one of the staff members of Piedmont CASA or one of the volunteers to perhaps, if they're willing or able to, that they can become that tutor, that guardian. But if that is the case, that you guys have such authorization, that is one avenue that, that person can take where, again, it's the standby guardianship will only take effect if, like you said, if they're detained by ICE or deported. But in the case that if the parents are only detained and the detention gets reversed and they're like, you know what, we're not deporting you, you're free to go, that guardianship automatically terminates at that point, as well as the deportation if they're brought back for whatever reason, it's terminated. But I think for the safekeeping of the children, and having someone to be able to, look after them or still take them to medical appointments, dentist appointments, school, anything like that, the guardian, a guardian should be appointed. And again, the standby guardianship um, form should be the first step, or I think would be a good first step that you guys can take. And of course, we are here to assist you guys with that. I mean, again, we try to make this space, again, a safe space, a confidential space. We have a very good and secure system of how we maintain our records, where we store them, and all that stuff. And we are more than willing to open our office when we are closed, our offices are open Tuesday through Thursday to the public, but they are closed Monday and Friday. But there's always a staff member here Monday through Friday. And so if confidentiality means that we let you guys or the group of children come in or the families come in when we are closed to the public, we are more than happy to do that so that we can focus on you guys and, get the standby guardianship forms filled out and proceed that way. So hopefully that provides you, an answer or somewhere where, you guys can start.
Yes, thank you. That was very helpful.
You're welcome.
So I don't have a question, but I definitely wanted to say, similar to Erica, I have taken youth to your office in the past to get support and ideas for next steps for citizenship and immigration status. And I just really appreciate what you all are doing, especially right now when it's very needed, more than we would want it to be, with January 2025 really starting this year off in a interesting way, to say the least. So thank you for all you do for the families and for our kiddos. We appreciate it, from the wellness and the positive events to just getting them through, the tough times. It's all very important and very appreciated.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Of course, thank you for giving us a platform to share about our organization, what we're doing. And again, yeah, we definitely appreciate the work that you guys do as well. It's organizations like you guys and people like you guys that help us continue our work and help us understand that community that we may not necessarily engage on a daily basis. But again, you guys are also bringing awareness to us, with the community that you guys work with, the environment that you guys are in. So again, if we can continue the conversations or other questions that you guys may have, please feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy, or I'm more than happy to sit one-on-one with you virtually or here in the office and speak more on whatever questions you may have, or doubts. So again, Leah, thank you so much, for giving us the platform and the time.
I appreciate it. And thanks for letting me record it, because there were definitely more people signed up. And so I will spread this to our advocates and partners and make sure people can hear it. So thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. Any other questions before we part ways? Okay. Well, thanks again. We appreciate you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Good
Thank
to
you
see
again.
you, Charlesy.
See everybody.